So my friend Ali, who has her own YouTube channel, which is Ali Living Well on Less, is doing freezer February. So what that means is that she is challenging herself to live from her freezer and things in her store cupboards for the month of February, and trying to half her shopping budget. So that inspired me. Inspired me to do my first YouTube video, and inspired me to do freezer February. Because, I mean, who doesn't love a challenge? So these are the last of, well, the white onions are the last of what I grew in 2024. They're all the piddly wee ones that are left, tiny wee things that are left in my stores. So I am chopping them so that, well, when it comes to making meals, that I'm not having to chop continuously 1,000 onions for one meal. So if I do it all at one time, I can pop these in the freezer and just take a cup or half a cup for whichever meal it is that I'm making. So all this goes into all the stuff that I don't use goes into my wee compost bin here. I have an allotment garden at my property, and which I'll show you in other videos. And so this just goes right into my compost. So this is not being wasted because it turns into food for the rest of my veggies for more onions. So yeah, that's the onions. So with the onions that I had left, I've got one tub and maybe about a third of a tub. So one of the ideas that was floating around in my mind was to do a soup week for Freezer Friday. Freezer February, although today is Friday also. So one of the soups that I make, because I'm an allotment grower, and we have, when you grow courgette, it grows in abundance. So this is my last 2 bags at the end of January, and I'm going to make courgette soup, and it's fabulous. I've got a family of 4 and they love it. So I'm going to make a double batch, that's why I've got 2. So one bag usually does, this is maybe about 500 grams of courgette. I'm not sure how many, obviously courgettes are loads of different sizes. So the recipe are roughly 3 medium courgettes, although I'll just throw in a whole bag, and that's about 500 grams. Recipe calls for 1 onion, however I'll always add more onion and saute it to begin with because it adds loads more flavour, so we'll add that in. The recipe calls for, in a single batch, is 1 large potato, so this will be grated, however mine is a double batch and I had smaller potatoes, so I'll put these 3 in as well, so that's kind of like a handful is how I measure it. Garlic, if you're anything like me, when it says a clove of garlic, I translate that as a bulb of garlic. These are the smaller bulbs that I have grown. I usually pleat up the bigger bulbs of garlic and store them, and that does me all year. And garlic's a fun, if you're thinking about growing veggies, definitely grow garlic because store's fantastic. Also, I mean, onions, if you've got the size of garden that I have, well, I just gave up one of my allotment plots, but if you've got the size of garden that I have, to grow onions is fantastic because, I mean, really every single meal that you have has got onions in it. However, I maybe need some recipe suggestions for red onions. These are only supposed to keep for about 3 months, and you harvest these roughly July. And they're only supposed to really keep for 3 months, but these are solid, and this is the end of January. Solid. Fantastic. I've just stored these in my my greenhouse, which I purpose built a unit that's got a mesh bottom, and it's aerated. There's loads of space between the shelves, and these are, and I've still got loads out there. So if anybody has a red onion recipe, or a recipe that calls for red onions, I'd be interested in hearing that. However, garlic, I'm going to use 2 bulbs, and that is about the size of the bulbs as you can see them in my hand. They're not very big, just nice and small, So I'll use all those. It calls for 4 cups of stock. I use veggie stock cubes. So a stock cube makes 500 mils. 500 mils is the equivalent of 2 cups. So when it's asking me for 4 cups, that is 2 stock cubes and a litre of liquid. So I've got 4 stock cubes because I'm making a double batch. Also, it calls for parmesan. So this is mostly a dairy-free house. So I use the nutritional yeast flakes, which are fantastic. It really does taste cheesy. I mean, my family can have parmesan, but the one daughter who has an intolerance, it brings out her eczema, really actually doesn't like the taste of cheese, but she likes the nutritional yeast. So I'm going to go ahead and pop some olive oil in the bottom of my pot. Loads of a little bit of olive oil. Love olive oil. Now I add olive oil just now on a nice low heat for sautéing the veggies first of all. Now I've got a cup measure here, but we always add 1. So that's probably another cup, so I'll just go ahead and empty that. I am not one for measuring precisely, as you can tell with my garlic adding garlic is well, a clove. I'm interested in people who only add a clove of garlic, because, well, apart from the fact that garlic is so good for you, very good for circulation, heart, it's also a natural antibiotic. So if you're not very well, try and get a wee clove. So that's the size of a clove, tiny. These ones are quite small. So what you want to do is get it on your chopping board, smash it so it's like this. And now garlic is quite abrasive in your stomach, so you shouldn't really swallow these without having food. However, if you, well, this happens to me, it might not happen to everybody. If I take, I'm going to say my garlic medicine because it totally is medicine. When I'm not feeling very well, if I take garlic after food, I burp garlic for hours afterwards, and it's not pleasant. So 10 minutes before I am about to eat my meal, that is when I take my garlic. Well, I squash the garlic and then swallow it down quickly with some water, and then eat my meal straight away. and so you're obviously getting the goodness of the garlic, but I don't burp garlic if I do it that way. So your stomach's still protected because you're eating food straight away, and therefore it's no harming your stomach. Is my fathoming anyway. That may not be true. So that's a disclaimer, I'm no doctor. So my son called and we chatted for about 2 hours. So we missed the whole soup making process. The courgette soup that I made was a double batch. So normally it makes 8 portions. So these hold 2 portions. So a single batch of courgette soup makes, and that's roughly what it is for every pot of soup that I make. It makes 8 portions. So I have had some soup. I actually had 2 bowls of soup because it was lovely. So what I did after I added the garlic was I grated my potatoes. I sauteed the onions and the garlic together until they started to go translucent. Then I added my grated potato and let that mix in the oil. It starts to get a wee bit dry by the potato. It thickens, it's like a sauce thickener. So if you don't want to use, in other soups, if you don't want to use flour to thicken your soups, add some potato and the potato will thicken the soup. I learned that recently. So cook that through a wee bit, add some water so that it doesn't stick to the bottom of your pot, and then after that looks lovely and well, it's starting to come together a wee bit. I add all the courgette into the pot, and that was still partially frozen when I added it, so I knew that the moisture from the frozen courgette would help to unstick the bottom of the pot because it was a wee bit sticky. So adding the courgette, added another wee bit of water, and after that had dissolved a wee bit, and I added my stock cubes to let the flavours go through. Added some salt, added some pepper. So when it comes to adding salt and pepper, that is a personal thing. I like salt and I love pepper. Garlic and pepper are 2 things that I pretty much virtually do not taste anymore, so loads goes in. And also my daughters, which is I'm so proud of, is that they add more pepper. When I was younger, I would not touch pepper in any of my food. I remember my mum putting pepper in her soup and thinking it was repulsive. However, not anymore for me. So it goes in abundance. Lots of pepper. I go through tons of pepper. And so mix that around to your own preferences. I added my stock cubes, and then I added 2 litres of water. So a litre of water per pot of soup is roughly a litre to a litre and a half, depends on how thick you want your soup. This is actually quite thin soup, so I think I added 2.5 litres of water to that big pot of soup. And I also added half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper because we like a little bit of heat in our meals, soups, stews, everything. I'm slowly but surely creating a wee curry family. We love curries in this house, so we go through loads of spices in this house. So then I just boiled the rest of that pot of soup for 20 minutes, just to let all the flavours marry. And at the end of 20 minutes, I blended that soup, and that was it complete. It is such a simple soup. It is delicious. If you try it, let me know how it goes. I will pop the recipe below and you can let me know how it goes. It's fantastic. I am definitely going to make more soup videos for freezer February. I'm so excited about this challenge. I love challenges, and to try and achieve a challenge with what you've got already and save money. I mean, to have more money at the end of the month, I mean, who doesn't want to do that challenge? Everybody wants more money. So I think probably the next soup that I might make will be just a plain lentil soup, potato and lentil soup with green lentils, because we had this, I had started making lentil soup one day, which traditionally you would use the red lentils with. And I started making it one day and I didn't realise that we didn't have red lentils, because we've always got red lentils. We didn't have them, so I used green lentils and it was such a different taste, so we love it. So that'll be the next soup that I make for freezer February. However, I will include things that I've got in the house. Hopefully the things that I will have to buy in February are things like bread, because I have daughters at school and they need packed lunches, so sandwiches. So these will go into my freezer, and perhaps the first week in February, because I've already got my meal plans. Today's the 31st of January, tomorrow is the 1st of February, which is a Saturday. And so I've already got my meal plans. So I have got pizza dough here. Homemade pizza dough, dead easy to make, dead easy. So this is for tomorrow. I have got a packet of grated mozzarella and cheddar in the fridge, and I will use some of my home canned tomatoes. So I've got two jars of these left. And February is the month that I start planting all my seeds, well, for tomatoes, and it's exciting. It means there's hope for the new year, But it's dead exciting to plan for the future and get more free food, because I seed save. I can actually call it free food, because most of the things that went into this meal, I grow potatoes, I grow onions, I grow garlic, I grow courgettes. I don't obviously grow stock cubes or pepper. Well, actually, that is a lie. Where is the one of my allotment friends has a peppercorn tree. I almost said there, I don't grow pepper. Well, I don't grow pepper, but somebody has given me their pepper. So there's some of the husks are in there, but they're beautiful, like wee black pearls. Absolutely beautiful. So he says that you only need a couple. I eat a lot of pepper, so I suppose we'll test the couple in the first instance, just in case they are quite potent. But yeah. I grow everything that goes into these soups. This soup, obviously lentil soup I don't, because I don't grow lentils. But we'll do a potato and lentil soup next. Okay, thanks. Bye.